Hey everyone, thanks for checking out another episode of Wonderful Garbage. I'm your host Angela, and this is one of our Bravo TV recap episodes. I'm going to recap our Southern shows, our Southern Charm and Southern Hospitality. Southern Charm gang is still in the Bahamas, poor them. Okay, let's get back to Charleston. And then our Republic gang, they're in Charleston and getting ready for an adult prom that they're going to do. We'll see it in next week's episode, which happens to also be the finale, which is crazy. I don't understand how we're at the finale already. It's a short episode. Episode numbers this season for Southern Hospitality. Maybe they didn't think they would have the viewership to give them a bigger season, but with this current season doing so well, Bravo has to give Southern Hospitality more episodes next season. We're needing it. I'm so ready for a new season. All right, well, let's start with Southern Charm. JT's finally there. I'm like, at this point, why even show up? Whitney is actually going to join them for something too, which, you know, this was a forced trip for Whitney to be a part of. So they're all going to dinner, another cast dinner with the group. Sienna's not going to be there, of course. But JT is trying to play nice and just, you know, there are people there that are annoyed with him, like Sally's annoyed with him, Craig's annoyed with him, Austin's annoyed with him, so is Madison. And JT's like, look, I want to have a good dinner with you guys tonight. We can have one-on-ones tomorrow and talk about your issues with me and things that I've said 100%, but like, I don't want to ruin this dinner. And Craig, of course, is just pressuring him like, no, you need to address everyone here. You need to address it head on. Blah, 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 blah. And Sally's just like, I'm just annoyed with you, whatever. Because JT was saying that she was a homewrecker in a relationship. And I'm wondering if JT just wanted to show up late in hopes that drama would be done or there would be new drama from the trip, that when he joined, all eyes wouldn't be on him and like it wouldn't be such a big deal. And Craig just really wants JT to apologize for calling Miss Patricia a bitch, but JT is so adamant that he did not call Miss Patricia that. And yeah, I don't think he would. Like, we've seen scenes with his mom, and his mom just seems like a very nice, respectable woman. And when JT is around his mom, he does seem very respectful. I don't know. I wouldn't see. JT talk some shit. JT runs his mouth 100%, but I don't see him disrespecting an older woman. He just disrespects the younger ones. So they're all talking, right? There's like little conversations throughout the table. Vanita's getting sad that like everyone's yelling at JT and picking on him and whatnot. Craig's like, okay, everybody stand up and let's shift chairs down one. And you're thinking, okay, this is going to be some sort of game. It's going to be like a talking exercise, like something. And then everyone sits down and they're like, okay, so like, what was that for, Craig? He goes, oh, I don't like sitting on the end and I want to hear what everyone else is talking about, because now this like moves Craig more into the middle of the table. I would have been so fucking annoyed with Craig. Like, you made everyone get up and shift down one. Also, from like a hospitality perspective, like your server, typically, I'm sure it's all going to be one check, right? And production's probably picking it up. But typically they're numbering all the chairs and they're writing down everyone's orders per chair. So when you shift, you're fucking up all of the seats, all the food that they just entered, all the drinks and everything. But of course, Craig doesn't think about that. He's only thinking about himself. It was just really annoying. So now Craig can talk to Shep a little better and bring JT into it a little more. And let's remember, Craig is good at lying. He told his therapist years ago that he's good at lying. So Craig does embellish the truth for sure. Craig's like, Shep, you were right there. You heard when JT called Miss Patricia a bitch for not taking his cane, that he was giving everyone a cane. Remember when JT had that horrible ATV accident? Horrible in quotations, where like he just bruised his leg barely and that was it, but was walking around with a cane at the beginning of the season to get sympathy. Yeah. Shep says, look, I didn't hear JT call that. And Taylor's like, yeah, I really don't think JT is saying this. And Craig is swearing about it. He swears that JT was talking mess about Austin and his girlfriend and Madison and her marriage. JT had made a comment that, oh, maybe Austin wasn't official with his girlfriend. If he was at this certain time, there's rumors apparently he was like also talking to other girls, also seeing people. So maybe Austin wasn't being faithful to his girlfriend. Then JT was saying that on their last cast trip, Madison's husband was FaceTiming them because her husband wanted to know who she was hanging out with, thinking that Madison's husband was worried that she was with Austin, or thought it was weird that she was hanging out with JT with just a couple friends. Like, ooh, maybe Madison might have an affair, blah, blah, blah. And JT's like, no, I never said the word affair. All I said was Madison's husband FaceTimed us to see where she was. And then on the phone, he did happen to say like, oh, well, like, is Austin there or anything, blah, blah, blah. So like, and Shep's like, yeah, he didn't say the word affair. Like, Shep's even backing him up here. So Craig is totally exaggerating all of this, thinking that, okay, everyone's annoyed with JT. If I just embellish, they're going to be on my side. But no, JT's not backing down, and Craig is really looking like the liar here. So then Austin, at this point, Craig gets up, leaves the table. Then it's Austin's turn to go in at him. Austin is so mad at JT for things that he said in the past, for going off on people. Austin calls JT the shit on his shoe, which is extreme. It's like, okay, you guys, pump the brakes, chill out. It's really not that deep. But he was also a dick to Sally, so like, okay, but maybe not like the shit on my shoe. And I do think that JT and Craig are both in the wrong. JT needs to not act like he is the moral police, the truth teller of the group. That's not your role. You're new on the cast. Yes, you've known these people for a while. Apparently, your place was the party place during COVID and quarantine. But you're new in this dynamic, so pump the brakes a little bit. Maybe have your moral police arc like your second season. And then Craig's in the wrong because he lies and exaggerates to create drama. But also, what would they be talking about this season? The two main storylines so far on Southern Charm are JT versus Craig and Shep's delusion with his quote-unquote relationship with Sienna. That's all we really have on Southern Charm. So maybe not the best season we've had in a while. I think it's in a transition period. I think they need to focus more on the women next year. Just something else. Like, we are tired of watching these older men in dumb drama, you know? Also, I'm really ready for Venita to not be so into JT. She's like all smiley with him. And they teased this before the actual episode, but Venita walks barefoot in the hotel, might I add. It's like, girl, put some shoes on. She goes to JT's hotel room after dinner, and he's like, you can come in, but no cameras. So they hang out. Then we learn the next day that Venita said that she straddled him last night and said, don't act like you don't want this just as bad as I do. Venita, oh my goodness, you little vixen. And then we get a confessional of JT, and he's like, I had to tell her to get off of me a couple of times. He's like, because I have a girlfriend. Then we come back to Vanita saying that JT had said that he has feelings too. They're stronger than Vanita's feelings, but he can't because he's supposed to be dating someone. And I think JT is still with that girl. So, if you've been watching Southern Charm, you might remember a couple episodes ago, Vanita makes branzino for JT. He comes over. She's like, I'm going to make him this nice dinner. And he essentially friend zones her and is like, yes, I did have feelings for you. It wouldn't be fair for me to keep pursuing things with you when I also have feelings for someone else, even though like Vanita and JT's mom were texting and that they both like each other and they have all these feelings, but he can't. So we got that scene a couple episodes ago. Now we're getting the scene where Vanita's saying that she straddled JT and was like coming onto him and all these things, which makes Vanita look like she knew JT had a girlfriend and still went to his hotel room anyway and was being disrespectful to the relationship and trying to set Vanita up as someone that she isn't. Well, Vanita came out on Instagram and said, I need to let you guys know something. That branzino dinner that we filmed happened after the Bahamas trip. So producers are trying to make Vanita look like something she's not. I don't like it. Okay. Let's talk about Shep and Sienna, because she still is avoiding him and not hanging out with him. We get a scene. Shep is back in their boys' suite. He apparently spiraled that night after the dinner and got kicked out of a casino for being too drunk. He couldn't stand up. Craig was like, it was so bad. They all walked back to the hotel room thinking Shep was following them, and no. They called him, they couldn't find him, they had no idea where he was at. Turns out he went to the beach and passed out on a beach chair and slept there all night. And he comes into the room and he lays in Craig's bed and his hair is all disheveled. And he's like, I spiraled last night. Like, this stuff is really messing with me. Like, Sienna, is she into me? Is she not? I don't know what's going on. And Craig's like, this is not good, bro. Like, everything that's going wrong has gone wrong with you guys. Like, she doesn't want to hang out with you. Like, sorry, we came all the way down here for this trip to get to know your quote unquote girlfriend. And she didn't even think you guys were dating. Apparently, Sienna is going to come to their boat today. And like at this point, it's like, why? And yeah, Craig was like pretty honest. Like Craig, it's funny. I wonder if Craig is being a little more empathetic now to friend situations now that he just got broken up with by Paige and went through this like huge public breakup. But before this, and what we're seeing in the episode is Craig just being like really harsh and honest with Shep, which is good, but Shep's obviously spiraling and going through it, right? Austin's getting annoyed with how Craig is handling it with Shep. He's thinking that he is being too hard. And I almost wonder if Craig is projecting some of his own stuff onto Shep. He's coming at him so honestly and maybe working through like, oh, the same kind of stuff's happening with me. I don't know. Probably not. Probably Craig was living in some delusional state, thinking that him and Paige were going to end up together. But yeah, it just doesn't look good for Shep. I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm sitting back, eating my popcorn, watching Shep get his karma from years of treating women like shit. It's like, oh, now you know what it feels like. Welcome to the club. Also, I didn't mention this at the dinner scene, but Shep is reading his text that he sent to Sienna to Molly, who has a crush on him, and she loves the text. She thinks it's poetic. She loved the freckled lip line. And Shep is just so unaware that Molly is into him. He's like so deep in wanting to be with Sienna. Also, Molly, like that text is not cute. So back to the boys and Craig grilling Shep. Craig decides to tap in his then girlfriend Paige, and he's just like, I just think Craig needs to hear all of this stuff from a woman. Like, he needs to, like, put it in perspective from, like, someone of the same gender. So Paige gets on FaceTime and she's like, she goes, I'm going to tell you what my mom told me growing up. If she likes you, you would know it. How's it going? Like, she would hang out with you. She would be wanting to talk to you. She would make time for you. She would introduce you to her family. And he's like, oh, well, I've met them before. Like, last time when I came up here. She goes, okay, well, then she would have coordinated something for you to all hang out with them. But she's not making the effort. She's making excuses every time you guys have something to do. She doesn't like you. It's just like, oh, Paige with the honesty, which I love. And maybe that's where Craig's getting it from. Paige is rubbing off some of her New Yorker on Craig, maybe, where he is more real and honest with other people about their situations, not his own. Okay, so then they do the boat. Let's talk about that. And he is trying to call Sienna. He's texting her, like, we're about to go to the boat. Where are you? She goes, oh, I'm running late. Don't worry. He's like, no, it's okay. I'll wait for you. Like, what's your ETA? And we're seeing, like, all the dots. Like, as she's texting, dots go away. Shep then calls her right after. Puts him, like, sends him to voicemail. I was like, oh, no. So everyone's already walking to the boat because the boat's about to leave. So Shep's like, you guys go ahead. I know where you guys are going. I'm just going to, like, wait back here. So everyone's on the boat and they're like, oh my goodness, do you think she's coming? What's going to happen? And yeah, he's starting to maybe realize that it's just not happening. And he does the saddest walk down the dock to the boat. It was so freaking funny. It made me laugh so much. Again, karma. And everyone's like, oh, what do we do? Everyone feels bad for him except Taylor, which I am kind of on Taylor's side for this one because Shep treated her like shit and I think was the one who got away for him. And now she gets to see Shep just wallow in this sorrow. Everyone's staring at him like he's a wounded animal. Like, they're not sure what to say. They're like, hey, buddy, you all right? Is she coming? And he's like, no, I don't think she's coming. And they're like, okay. They're like, we gotta get this guy a drink. Get him a drink. Get him something. And he is just like, he's wallowing in it for sure. But the boat is gorgeous. The water is beautiful. Looks like a really fun time. Everyone's kind of talking on the boat. JT doesn't go to the boat either. He wants to leave. He had a conversation earlier with Madison about, like, apologizing for the comment that he made, saying that he really wished that, like, him and Madison would have had one-on-one talk before, like, everyone listening to Craig and his, like, telephone of bullshit that he's doing. And Madison's like, yeah, like, okay, like, we're gonna be all right, like, we'll figure it out, but, like, thank you for coming and talking to me. And JT was, like, so respectful, so kind, so nice. And then he was like, I think I'm gonna leave because no one really wants me around, which I was like, no, stay, film with these people, create some more drama. You had been running your mouth at the beginning of the season. Now all the shit you've been saying is coming back at you. Stay for it, you know? It's gonna look worse if you run off and leave. Don't pull a Sutton or a Kyle and leave when things get tough, you know? So he's not going on the boat either. We see him packing up as if he is going to fly back. I don't think we saw if he, like, actually flew back or not. But the episode ends with Shep talking to Madison. And he's like, maybe I'm just not good enough for Sienna. Or maybe I'm just not what she's looking for. Like, I don't even think that's that deep. I think literally she was like, oh, this guy's, like, kind of rich. He likes to travel. He'll come see me in the Bahamas. We'll go different places. Let's have fun for a little bit. Like, I don't think it was ever a serious thing for her. Again, they didn't hang out more than a long weekend. Like, what is that? And Madison was like, well, do you ever think that maybe, like, you're not rich enough for her? Because Shep does make a comment like, oh, one time we were down here and we passed this house. It was like a $10 million house. And Sienna was like, oh, I want you to buy that for me one day. And Shep, so then Madison was like, well, maybe you're just like not rich enough for her. It's like, no, she just wasn't into him. It wasn't that deep. Like, stop feeling sorry for him. But, oh well, he's like a little wounded puppy, and that's always hard to not love. All right, well, those are my thoughts on this most recent Southern Charm. I hope they're almost done with the Bahamas, but also like not much else is happening. This was episode 12, so I'm assuming we only have a couple more episodes left. Let's just get to the end of this. Let's see all the Craig and Paige messy breakup shit. And let's put this season behind us and move on. Okay, let's get into this week's Southern Hospitality. All right, we get some more talks of Joe and Maddi's future. Maddi is hanging out with Mia, and she's like, yeah, you know, we've talked about marriage, and we've talked about our future. And Mia's like, do you think you guys are gonna get married? Like, you've been together for 4 months. Yes, you guys have known each other for a while, but like, is it really happening that fast? And Maddi's like, look, I am ready to take things slow. She says she's about to go on tour. Joe will come when he can. And Mia is wondering if Joe is jealous of Maddi's career. And Maddi's like, I think, yeah, my success is kind of like pushing him to want to grow in his career more. And it's like, yeah, what is Joe doing? Like, he needs to not suffocate Maddi so much, but I think he's suffocating her so much because he's nervous and insecure about losing her because her DJ career is blowing up. And thankfully, Maddi has a good support system like her mom and has a good head on her shoulders to understand that she needs to go and fulfill her dreams in her career and not stay back just because her boyfriend of 4 months wants her to, you know? Then we get a scene, Joe is going golfing and he's telling the guys that they're doing amazing, but he's annoyed about how much time he spends at Maddi's. It's like, well, we saw this at the end of last episode. She said, like, you don't have to come over all the time. You don't have to spend 45 minutes to come see me. Like, we'll meet up, we'll see each other during the week for sure, but it doesn't have to be every day. You're making the choice to do it. You're not going to pressure Maddi to move into an apartment with you so you're close to each other or move in a closer spot. Like, shut the fuck up. And we're starting to see this frustration of Maddi and Joe at work. He's trying to do other things that Leah CEO is telling him not to do. Like, Leah's saying, let's set up things this way. Joe's like, no, it has to be this way. And Maddi's like, Joe thinks he is the owner of Republic and I need to humble him. And they are arguing on the floor in front of customers. Like, it doesn't look good. We even see there's a cat adoption event during this episode and they are coming in together and Joe's like, sorry, we're late. We had to drive all the way from Maddi's house, like 45 minutes, blah, 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 blah. And you're just like, this isn't going to help. This isn't going to make it better by you making snarky comments about where your girlfriend lives, because you probably won't have a girlfriend anymore. Also interesting, the trailer for the reunion came out. Y'all, next week is going to be crazy. Well, I guess it's this week. I'm putting out the episode the same week. But this week is the Southern Hospitality finale and the reunion. They're dropping both on the same night, which is insane. I don't like it. Why are you doing that to us? But at the reunion, Maddi and Joe are sitting on opposite sides. Like, maybe they're still together. I don't really stalk their Instagrams to see what's going on. But maybe they are taking a break. Maybe Joe was becoming a little too much. Speaking of Joe being too much, Leva actually calls Joe and invites him for a little one-on-one chat because she heard that Joe wants to take a month off of work and travel with Maddi. I also think Leva is having this talk on behalf of Maddi as well, because a couple episodes ago when they got back from Vegas, Maddi was like, we had a fake wedding. And Lev is like, what? She goes, yeah, like I think Joe's just like, you know, putting a lot of pressure on us and all these things. So I think Maddi talking with Leva about it, plus Joe not making work his priority. Leva's like, all right, I need to talk to him. She says, look. So Leva owns these restaurants with her husband, Lamar. And she said, Lamar has been saying, like, he can't do this job without you. Like, he relies on you so much at Republic that we need you here. And she doesn't want Joe to get lost in the relationship and not think about his career first, because he's going to resent Maddi later on, and vice versa. If Joe keeps on Maddi the same way he's been keeping on her, she's going to end up resenting him too. And Joe's like, yeah, because I really want to own a place of my own one day. And Leva's like, yeah, she goes, Lamar and I could see us building something with you in the future, which is huge. It's like what we see with Lisa Vanderpump and the Toms. She brought them in, of course, really just for their namesake and their cocktail ideas, I guess. But it's kind of that thing here. Like, we know you're a hard worker. We know you're great at this. We want to build something with you in the future, but get your head on straight and get focused, you know? And she's like, so yeah, we need you committed to work. So I think Leva, was really having that conversation to benefit both Joe and Maddi. We'll see what happens. Okay, so Will is talking with the guys at golf about Emmy, and the way he talks about Emmy, it's such like a business relationship. He tells the guys, yeah, it's been a rough summer, but he does want to settle down one day. He wants the house and the yard and the dog. And he says, Emmy is a good backup for him. That he's good with her having the housewife life. He'll work, she can stay and do that. He says that she even comes to his college and cleans up after him. So he feels like he owes her with marriage. And Bradley's like, oh, so like transactional? He goes, look, I'll work and she'll run the logistics of our life. And I'll pump it full of fuel. Like, what is happening? This is weird. If my boyfriend was talking about my relationship like that, I would be like, who the fuck do you think I am? I don't work for you. We are partners in this life. But Emmy is so focused on having that lawyer wife life. He could literally say and do anything and it won't be a problem. It's just, yeah, I didn't like him calling her a backup. I didn't like him saying that she'll take care of the logistics of their life. It's just fucking weird. Oh, okay. Also, we get some scenes of them at work, and Austin's girlfriend is there, whose brother goes to law school with Will and is apparently the one starting all these rumors about Will because it's such a competitive place. Emmy walks right up to her, says hi, gives her a big ol' hug, and the producers were like, why did you give Austin's girlfriend like such a warm hello if her brother is the one spreading or starting these rumors about Will? And she was like, well, actually, Austin's girlfriend and my mom have been doing Bible study for years. Like, of course, that is some Southern stuff. But also, was she being like true nice? Was she being Southern nice? I'm sure she was being like spirally nice because like she's just having such a hard time. Okay, let's talk about one of my favorite, or it is my favorite part of the episode. Michols has a talk with his stepdad, or his dad. He calls dad. He raised him. He's been in his life for so long. And it was such a beautiful conversation. They speak in Spanish and they're opening up, and Michols is opening up about his struggles of, you know, being gay and his mom not accepting. Michael's stepdad isn't with his mom anymore, but I love that he's still in his life and still having a relationship with him. So Michols talks with his stepdad about not being able to talk with his mom. And he's like, she doesn't call me, she doesn't check on me. And they're both starting to get emotional because it's just hard when you're not able to have that relationship with a parent or with someone that you're really, really close to, and seeing how that really does affect you. His stepdad tells him to just do what's good for him and to not live the way other people want you to live, that you have to live for yourself and find a relationship that suits you so you will be happy. And I was like, oh, it's just amazing one for a Mexican culture, like traditional Mexican culture. There is a lot of that machismo, I'm a tough guy, we don't talk about our feelings type thing, especially with older generations. These younger generations, obviously, like Michols, are more in tune with their feelings and communicative about them and really do open up and share. And so to see this generational discussion of feelings and sexuality and acceptance is so important to have on this show. I just continue to love Michols as an addition to this cast because I think it does help people learn how to have those conversations and feel comfortable to have those conversations, hopefully. Or if they're not comfortable, maybe they can just live through Michael and his stepdad. But it was a really, really sweet episode. And it actually makes Michols have a talk with Lake at the cat adoption event that they have in this episode. He just says, I just had this great talk with my stepdad and I feel really supported and I would love for you to have this conversation with your dad too. And Lake's like, I'm feeling a lot of pressure about doing this. Like, she goes, I don't want to disrespect my family. I don't want to disrespect my family's legacy. She goes, my grandfather worked so hard to build so much for us that my family is like well respected in the community and we're very religious. And she just knows that they won't be accepting of it. And she doesn't want to essentially be going through the same thing that Michols is going through with his mom. She's not ready to have that conversation. It's tough. So I see where Michols is coming from. He sees someone in a similar situation and wants them to be able to have that conversation. And I think I said it in the recap I did for this last week, Lake's parents are probably watching this show or it's getting out there to them. So I am interested to see if they talk about it at the reunion of what her dad thinks and what he ends up saying about what she's put on the show. But in this episode, we learn Emmy wants to throw an adult prom because she couldn't go to Will's law school prom. And everyone's like, why are you doing this shit for this man? He just trashed you all over town and there's cheating rumors and you want to throw him a party? But they're all going to do it because it's the finale episode. So they have to ask their dates to prom in a crazy way or a creative way. Austin asks his girlfriend with pizza. He gets prom spelled out with the pepperonis. We learn a little bit more about Austin and his relationship. He says back in the day, he wasn't a great boyfriend. He would lie to her about things just to get a rise out of her. And he's really trying to do better. I'm like, okay, well, you're a piece of shit. Maybe she's just back with you for the show. And they're going to go to Will's law school prom. So that's going to be interesting too. Because again, Austin's girlfriend's brother is the one allegedly starting these rumors about Will. We'll see what happens there. But Austin he says earlier in the episode, him, Brad, and TJ go for a run with Bradley's running group that he started. And Austin's like, yeah, he goes, her family doesn't even talk to me. Like, I'm really trying to like win my girlfriend back and like work on our relationship to be better. So then like, it'll be better with her family. He's like, but right now, like, they don't speak to me. I was like, damn, that's rough. TJ asks Mia to prom with hot dogs. He's selling his Sir Wieners at Republic. We learned that it's doing so well that Leva's letting him sell there once a month. And then also, I just saw on Instagram, I think last night, they're doing Sir Wieners at some of their other restaurants in Charleston too. So congratulations to TJ. That's so exciting. But he asked, like, will you go to prom with me on mustard on the hot dog? So that was really, really cute. Okay, this was so cringy. We have to talk about it. Everyone's at work. Will shows up with balloons. And Emmy's like, oh, balloons, what are you doing? He goes, well, like, will you go to prom with me? He wrote prom on the balloons, but he said he just did it with a Sharpie and he can't even find out how to spell the word prom on the balloons. Like, he can't organize them to where, like, it actually says something. And Emmy's like, I don't care. This is, like, so freaking cool. This is so nice. Of course I'm gonna go to prom with you. And then he was like, okay, cool. Well, I gotta get back to work now. Bye. And it's like, this shit was so staged. He comes in for 2 minutes, asks you to prom, and then heads out. It was just 100% all set up. Again, I mean, why are you wasting your time and your money on this man who doesn't give a shit about you? Everyone else at Republic they see this and they're just looking at each other like, is this really happening? Like, this is so cringy. But we love cringe. It gives us good entertainment. And then, like I said, next week is the finale. It's prom. It looks like there's gonna be some drama. There's a rumor going around that Will took a girl to his law school prom, and that's why Emmy didn't go. And Will and Emmy are leaving the party early. And so, some messy drama for the finale. I can't wait. All right, y'all. Well, I hope you enjoyed my recap and thoughts on our Southern shows that are on Bravo right now. Let me know what you think. Follow, like, subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. And then follow us on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Bluesky. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your day. Until next time.